Hi everybody, I'm Marv Albert, and welcome to Sports Illustrated's Year in Sports. Well, 1995 was a year of an impossible streak and 2 improbable sweeps. It was a year pro football turned Los Angeles back into a desert, only to have the Bruins restore the bloom. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, here comes Mr. Jordan. It was a year that posed the question, suppose they played a baseball game and nobody came. It was another bad year for boxing's image, while a bicycle race in France had them singing in Lorraine. It was a year of rising stars and fallen angels, a year of lions and tigers and raptors. Oh my. In short, it was a year, well, just like this.
If he's determined to go to the basket, you have to get out of his way.
For Nebraska coach Tom Osborne, a visit to the Orange Bowl in January is no vacation. If the locals don't ruin the trip, there's always a hurricane waiting offshore ready to do the damage.
Tom Osborne has been very uniformly unsuccessful at the Orange Bowl. It's got to be the worst place in the world for him to go into.
In a season dubbed unfinished business, Nebraska husked their first 4 opponents with little difficulty. But when a blood clot forced starting quarterback Tommy Frazier out of the lineup, backup Brooke Behringer led the Cornhuskers to an amazing undefeated run and a year of close calls for anyone who strapped on a pad. On its way. It's good. Over. Despite a 7-0 start, the Huskers dropped to 3rd in the polls behind number 2 Colorado and the other team that would lay claim to a national title, the Nittany Lions of Penn State.
Basically, we start off with the idea we'd like to win a national championship, and we're going to try as hard as we can to win the national championship.
Back-to-back wins over Indiana and Illinois clinched a Rose Bowl berth. But no matter how loudly the Lions roared, they remained number 2 in the country.
After we beat Michigan, we was number 1. Then we beat Ohio State 63-14, and we dropped a spot in one of the polls because Nebraska beat Colorado. And I think the whole year, they were building up Nebraska to be this great team the whole year. Politics, and that's all it is.
Tom Osborne's dubious reward for his 12-0 season, a trip to the Orange Bowl, the scene of so many disappointments, including last year's near miss.
The game with Florida State the year before had been helpful because certainly Miami last year was no more talented than Florida State had been the year before. So I think in a way it served as a very powerful springboard for our players.
But the Huskers, true to form, stumbled, and the Hurricanes stormed 97 yards to score the opening touchdown. Starter Tommy Frazier, who hadn't seen a snap in 3 months, was taken out early in favor of Behringer. At halftime came to Nebraska like a breath of fresh air.
The fact that Nebraska went into the locker room off of a low-scoring first half had to make them believe that they actually had a good shot at winning this game.
The Canes, however, began to wreak havoc in the second half. And another opportunity seemed ready to elude Osborne.
For the end zone, dangerous, was it intercepted? Yes!
He told me you're going in no matter what, and so he told me to warm up, and at that time I was warming up, and I was just sitting there saying, I gotta figure a way out how to bring this team back. That this is the opportunity that I dreamed about. It's something that any quarterback would dream about, and now it's time for me to go out there and see if I can pull off that dream.
Fullback Corey Schlesinger's fourth quarter touchdown left Nebraska down by 2 with under 8 minutes to play.
Frazier will throw. It's good, two-point conversion, game tied at 17.
After Miami's offense sputtered again, it was time for Frazier and Schlesinger to move the chains and the clock. The Hurricanes' final possession was a thing of beauty for the Nebraska defense.
Costa deep downfield, up for grabs, intercepted.
And in the heat of the South Florida night, Tom Osborne savored the cool taste of his first national title.
There's nothing we could do about what Nebraska had done against Miami. Our job was to come out here, represent the Big Ten and Penn State, and prove to people that we had a legitimate right to the national championship.
Hey, we're number one. You got to give us at least one of them. You got to get at least one of the polls. We're number one. We're number one of them. At least one of them, we're number one.
Despite the bravado, the Nittany Lions knew that whatever they accomplished in the Rose Bowl probably would not be enough to wrest the title from Nebraska.
Shed no tears for Joe Paterno. Penn State is the school that wanted to join the Big Ten, and they cannot go out and meet Nebraska in the parking lot for a game of tag and settle it all. And if they could, I don't know if it'd be a better world.
There's such a deep affection for Joe that so many people couldn't deal with his loss. Steve's career in so many ways has been just trying to get out of Montana's shadow.
The San Francisco 49ers know all about shadows. For 2 straight seasons, they found themselves eclipsed by the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC Championship game. And for Steve Young, there was the lingering shadow of Joe Montana's legend. In only the second week of the 75th NFL season, Young faced Montana for the first time since their famous separation.
And Montana to throw, all alone, Valerio. Nobody followed up. To the big noise, and Young's going to get nailed in the end zone. Safety.
And the student would bow to the master once more. The stories were no less compelling around the rest of the NFL, starting with Miami quarterback Dan Marino's amazing comeback from injury against New England's talented young quarterback Drew Bledsoe. Bledsoe, off play action, back, fires wide open. The Patriots regain the lead.
Shotgun, Marino throws deep downfield. It is caught by Fryer. Yes! Touchdown! Touchdown Dolphins!
And the rush to postseason glory continued.
Barry's got room to the outside, stiff arm to the 15, to the 10, juke move to the 5.
Holy mackerel, what a run by Barry Sanders.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
The postseason began with a duel of icons as Montana and Marino met for only the 3rd time in an AFC wildcard game that saw the Chiefs lose their grip.
Anders in motion to the left side. Handoff to Marcus Allen. Try in the middle. Then he bounces out to the outside. He's to the 40, and he's down to the 35. Michael Stewart tried to tear that ball out of there. The Dolphins say, hey, yes! He's got it!
All that was left for Montana were the memories. His official retirement coming in April. The battle for the AFC title ultimately boiled down to the surprising Chargers against a heavily favored Pittsburgh team that seemed to be looking past their opponents. But Junior Seau, suffering from an injury that rendered his left arm ineffective, played the game of his life.
I really didn't feel the pain. I really didn't realize what I was doing. I think anyone would have done it.
He's a tremendous player. It seemed like every time we had a call to play that he was starting to move around to exactly where we were trying to run the play. He's got a great sense of what's going on. He's a great football player. It's just unfortunate that he was playing against us that day.
Neil O'Donnell on a 4th down play to save the season to throw. Fire down! It was played down at the goal line by San Diego!
As expected, the NFC Championship came down to the 2 best teams in football. The 49ers had rebuilt themselves with the sole purpose of getting past the Cowboys, adding the final missing piece 4 games into the season.
Everett to throw, goes to the left sideline, picked off! Sanders up the right side, he's at the 50, he's to the 40, into the middle of the field, he's high-stepping, throws, intercepted, is he inbounds, Dion? Down the right side, yes, he's to the 50, they can't stop him.
Dion was the difference in our defense. I know that people came out to play us, and their offense came on the field and saw Dion, and it made a difference.
I think probably the biggest thing going into last year was, could the 49ers ever scale Mount Dallas?
Back to throw again is Aikman. Some pressure, gets the pass away. Eric Davis picks it off. He's got a lane down the left side. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown 49ers. He's at the 5. He dives. He's into the end zone. Yes, touchdown 49ers. Give it to Floyd. He gets in easy, standing up. Washington grabs him. It's too late. 49ers, after 7.5 minutes of this game, lead 20-0.
An injured Emmitt Smith tried gamely to close the gap in the second half.
Emmitt Smith pounds it back in and back to a 10-point game again.
But by the time he popped his other hamstring, the Cowboys were done.
San Francisco is going to meet the Chargers in an all-West Coast Super Bowl.
To take nothing away from the Chargers, Dallas had been where our sights had been set. I think going into the game, most of the guys felt pretty darn confident.
If the 49ers get an early score on the board and San Diego falls behind early in this game, that'll really bode well for the 49ers.
And a play fake. Young goes deep middle. He's got Jerry Rice. Touchdown 49ers! First touchdown of the game comes after only 1 minute and 24 seconds.
We came off the field and I knew we were going to have a long day.
This was but the overture to a 49er performance of terrible beauty, conducted by Maestro Steve Young.
There were certain things that had to be accomplished, and we really didn't get accomplished any of them.
Young's Super Bowl record performance earned him MVP honors and the chance to disperse once and for all the darkness of another's legend.
It goes to show you, if you just keep playing, sooner or later they'll hand you a trophy. And then you hug it as hard as you can.
85 feet from the basket. For 3 from the corner, no good. UConn has won the national championship.
So Mary Pierce raises her arm in joy at having won her first Grand Slam championship.
It's Michael Johnson supremely coming through to take the title by 10 meters from Butch Reynolds. At the time, the second fastest ever run.
It is over. Roy Jones Jr. has defended his IBF junior middleweight title.
Abdul-Jabbarov is coming on the right along with Lawrence Oliver. Abdul-Jabbarov gets it. Can you believe that? And what an end to the Tour de France.
A thrilling sprint to the finish.
Miguel Indurain content to stay in the back of the pack on this day.
And Faldo has assured the fact that the USA can't win.
Southern Californians have come to accept disaster as a way of life, and no list of local catastrophes would be complete without UCLA basketball, ever since the Wizard left Westwood.
I think a couple things were different for UCLA this year. One thing was that they had a tougher conference to get through. I mean, they dominated the conference this year, and this year that meant something.
But once the NCAA tournament began, every team faced the prospect of disaster on the way to Seattle.
Let's play like if we lose, we're going to the electric chair.
We're not going to be militaristic. We're going to be in a very fastidious mood.
Now, back to the game.
One last try for the Bruins of UCLA to get into the Sweet 16. Edney going the distance.
I knew he would take it to the rim because they would not foul him. And I'd never seen anybody in 4 years block his shot.
At the exact moment Tyus Edney was saving UCLA's season, the defending champion Arkansas Razorbacks were facing their own near-death experience.
Jackson got a chance. He gets it off. It could be good. Arkansas survives.
The Hogs faced Dean Smith's Tar Heels in their return to the Final Four, where Razorback Corliss Williamson poured in 19 second-half points. North Carolina went 13 minutes without a field goal, but Arkansas still had to scramble for the victory.
And Arkansas is heading to Monday night for the chance to repeat.
When I got to the final after beating North Carolina, my only worry was, do we have one left in us? If we got one left in us, we're going to be national champs again.
In the other semifinal, all eyes were on Oklahoma State center Bryant Big Country Reeves.
Every time I looked on the floor when they would score, Bryant Reeves was looking around, and here he's coming, you better start running.
UCLA managed to rein in Big Country in the second half, and Tyus Edney led the offense to victory. The Bruins' celebration was cut short by the news that Edney had hurt his wrist. When Monday night arrived, Edney took the floor, but the Bruins knew they'd have to win without him.
Before the game, I knew he wasn't going to be able to play. I was sick. I did not want to go on the floor. I did not want to even play the game. I really believed we had no chance.
Sophomore stand-in Cameron Dollar came up short almost immediately.
Look at this, pickpocket right away on Dollar, and McDaniel lays it in.
But Dollar settled down, and the UCLA defense began to assert itself. Even Corliss Williamson was held in check, met at every turn by Bruins center George Zedek and friends.
Corliss, for some reason, was trying to force his game to the inside.
Freshman Toby Bailey played above everybody's head. And Ed O'Bannon showed why he was the player of the year.
In that particular ball game, Ed O'Bannon was the man of the hour.
Each time UCLA built a lead, Arkansas stormed back, but the pace of the game began to take its toll.
I think the longer we played, it seemed the weaker we got.
We had gone down the floor about 2 or 3 times, both teams without scoring, and at that moment I was a little concerned.
I thought that if we could hang around, then that stigma of, boy, Arkansas, here they go. They're going to luck out again.
But in the final moments, the Bruins stood up to the Hogs. under John Wooden's approving gaze, ending 2 decades of frustration.
Make no mistake about it, it was a major victory for Jim Harrick. As big a victory, I think, as any coach had scored in the last decade in the NCAA tournament.
It was a remarkable year for these 4 individuals who were all at the top of their game and were forced out for a variety of bizarre circumstances. Michael Jordan, probably the preeminent athlete of our time, going through that strange romance with baseball.
Monica Seles suffers a superficial knife wound and disappears off the face of the earth for 2 years.
Tyson, of course, left to go to prison.
Lemieux is the most sympathetic of the comeback figures of 1995.
The Hodgkin's disease victory was very inspiring, but it may very well be his back that limits his playing time real severely.
To confront something as potentially devastating as cancer, it's easier for an athlete because their whole lives, they have this mindset, the good athletes, what do I need to do to succeed?
Give it away to Lemieux for the shot. It is in, a score!
A very sympathetic departure and a very sympathetic return. Much more so than Michael Jordan or than Monica Seles or certainly than Mike Tyson.
I think the Michael Jordan return is a return that was clearly the most charismatic and compelling of all comebacks, in my lifetime.
Off the spin!
I think Michael Jordan just lives in a crazy world. He lives in a world that few people live in, like Madonna and Prince and Michael Jackson. And I think he had wearied of that a bit and was trying to maybe find a respite somewhere. And I don't think he really did.
Tipping to Jordan, pull-up jumper. Michael Jordan time!
It may be very hard to root for a corporate zillionaire who's trying to run the Players Association, but it's not hard to root for somebody who can fly.
The key factor that separates all these people is the age of Monica Seles.
You notice that old people drive very slowly, and I've always said it's because they've seen a million bad things happen in their lives. So she's young and she saw one bad thing, but she hasn't seen a million.
Game, set, match, Seles. She's back, kids.
She certainly took 0 time to get back to the top of her game, or very close to it.
But obviously it did say something about women's tennis, that someone away that long could breathe through the tournament, and I have no doubt that the next Grand Slam tournament, I would pick Monica Seles.
For every yin, there's yang. And for every, courageous return, there's also maybe a scurrilous return.
You may feel that Mike Tyson is not a tremendously admirable individual, but that doesn't mean that he's not a beautiful boxer to watch.
Mike Tyson believes he did nothing wrong, which, just gives me a chill.
He's not only shown no remorse, but for some reason, and I don't understand this, he's gotten back with the same predators that he was with before he went in.
I also will confirm that Don King will continue to promote my fight.
Tyson has to prove that everyone was wrong about him.
Comebacks, as we all know, have been really common in sports. What was interesting with these 4 people was that they had all left at some kind of level from which they could come back.
A year, 1995, is not an Olympic year, and it doesn't have the Olympic drama. And so they're usually down years in sports, but I think these things made the year quite memorable.
Matteau swoops in to intercept. Matteau behind the net. Swings it in front. He scores! Matteau!
After a heartbreaking loss in '94, the New Jersey Devils had to wait through yet another labor dispute for their shot at redemption. The good news, however, was a regular season played at fast forward.
It's a lot of fun going through a quick season like that. It's a real get up and go. Don't trip and fall, or you're never going to get up in time for playoffs.
It was a season that saw its Euro stars on the rise and Gretzky on the wane. It was a season that the Devils wanted so badly and almost squandered.
Coming into the playoffs, everyone said, well, forget this season, let's start the real season now.
The Devils had fine-tuned a smothering trap defense to close out the season at the top of their game. But a high-octane Detroit team left the rest of the league in the rearview mirror.
Scott Bowman did a fabulous job coaching the Red Wings this year. And he turned the Red Wings into a solid two-way hockey club. Best in the West, best in hockey during the regular season.
But the postseason is a different place, and the Devils opened theirs by closing down Boston Garden. Jaromir Jagr and the mighty Penguins were the next victims of the Devils' wrath. Over in the West, the Red Wings avenged last year's embarrassing first-round loss to San Jose to set up a contest between two of the NHL's oldest rivals.
Here comes Taylor and Stu Crimson.
After a series of one-goal games, it came down to double overtime in Game 5.
For the first time in 19 years, the Detroit Red Wings will skate for the Stanley Cup.
In the Eastern Conference Finals, the Devils squeezed the life out of MVP Eric Lindros and his Legion of Doom, taking the first two games on the road.
We had to change our style of game. They play a system where they take 5 guys and all play the same style, where they just smother you towards the boards, not giving you time and space to make plays.
The Devils allowed the Flyers 2 road wins of their own, but Game 5 was back in Philly, where these road warriors liked it.
I think that's the biggest game of the playoffs. I mean, if you go down 3-2, you got to win back-to-back.
Lemieux with a shot, he scores! Claude Lemieux with a drive!
44 seconds or left in the game, they score. That was, we win that game, I really thought we were going to the finals.
But the Devils earned the trip, riding a wave of 11 postseason goals by a tenacious Lemieux, who scored only 6 during the regular season.
Claude Lemieux is not a great hockey player. Claude Lemieux is a good hockey player who understood the moment.
The finals opened in Detroit, where the Devils were treated to the catch of the day.
It was disgusting. It stunk.
Sushi aside, the fan favorite in this matchup was Detroit's come-out swinging offense over the counter-punching Devils.
This series was not only a struggle between New Jersey and Detroit, really it was for hockey's soul.
I think we surprised them in Game 1. And after that, they didn't know what to do, and we just kept on going and just played well.
With Detroit leading 2-1 in Game 2, the Devils came to life.
He shoots! Big rebound! Score!
Lemieux continued his scoring assault, and Brodeur barely broke a sweat in Game 3. And in Game 4, the Devils skated to etch their names in history.
Walston again, Freeland all alone in front! Score! The Devils win the Stanley Cup!
And in typical New Jersey style, they celebrated in a parking lot. Rockets launched the defense of their championship with an aerodynamic 9-0 start.
Boy, this Houston machine is working on all cylinders.
But just as quickly, Houston drifted from orbit to obscurity.
Houston, we've had a problem.
With the Rockets lost in space, it seemed as if everybody had a chance at the NBA championship. Even a couple of rookies grabbed their share of the spotlight, overshadowing the sometimes bizarre cast of characters.
Whoop-de-damn-do.
Well, the rest of us were a bit more impressed with this NBA season.
Nick Anderson hustling on the baseline, saves the Hardaway. He'll fire it up with one on the shot clock and hit a prayer.
Down to Akeem, twist inside, missed. Oh, Robert Horry! Robert Horry!
Taking us all by surprise, Michael Jordan returned to add another masterpiece or two to the collected works of his career.
Jordan for the win. Jordan off the turnover. Puts the move on, starts, yes!
Jordan's game against the Knicks was, I think, one of the great athletic feats that I can remember. Probably one of the greatest of all time. For that one night, he was as great as he's ever been.
The Jordan-led Bulls joined a postseason that cut as close as Anthony Mason's haircut.
3 seconds left. Van Exel to win it. It's on the way. Good! Miller for three. And he got it. And it's 105-102. And a steal. Miller retreats to the three-point line and hits again. Down to two. Ewing. Not able to hit. And it's all over.
Once again, a frustrated group of elite veterans would go without a championship. But Clyde Drexler shed the weight of a controversial trade to keep his hopes alive. While Drexler chased his dream, Bulls defector Horace Grant led his new team against his former mates.
And the no-look to Horace Grant.
Horace Grant, the catch, the cut.
Orlando's success continued against Indiana, despite coming up short in one of the wildest finishes in recent memory.
Backs it up to go now against Dale Davis. Here's Brian Shaw for three. Miller taking the shot and hitting. Hardaway, down to three. Here is the three-pointer. Yes! With 1 3/10 seconds to go. Gotta be a catch and shoot. Here it is. Smith with the catch and the shot.
In the Western Conference Finals, Olajuwon proved himself the game's premier player, decimating league MVP David Robinson.
Akeem went to a level I never saw him play at before, and I just have to give him a lot of credit. Man was phenomenal.
Akeem had never played better. He came out with some moves and some performances that, after all these years, I have to say, even surprised me.
The Houston-Orlando matchup was a study in contrast, defined by the centers of attention, Akeem against Shaq, experience versus exuberance, cool jazz versus gangster rap.
Shaquille is purely power, strong, where if he's determined to do something, if he's determined to get a rebound, there's no way you can stop him. And if he's determined to go to the basket, you have to get out of his way.
Down by 20 points in Game 1, a trademark Houston rally brought the Rockets within 3 with seconds left.
There were so many tests of character. There were so many times we were hanging from a branch, so close to elimination, but it all came down to this tremendous belief we have in ourselves.
But Nick Anderson had a chance to put the game out of reach for Orlando.
Anderson missing on both, but gets to the rebound and again draws the foul. And another miss by Nick Anderson. And he misses 4 straight. The Rockets take a timeout with 5 6/10 remaining. He's tied the game at 110. Drexler puts the move on Anderson. The finger roll, the tip by Olajuwon.
It really shook Orlando to lose a game like that, and it told Houston that the roll was continuing. I think right then, Houston knew it was going to win.
Orlando had posed the question, why not us? Why not now? Over the next 3 games, each Houston player took turns providing the answer. While Olajuwon added the exclamation point with his 2nd straight Finals MVP award.
I got to play against most of the all-time greats, Chamberlain, Jabbar, I have to say Akeem is right in there with all those guys. If not, on top of them, he has a chance to stand as the greatest basketball player of all time.
The perennial farewells of the sports world serve to remind us that our heroes, too, are mortal. 1995 saw the passing of icons, the retirement of a legend, and the final moments of a monument to greatness.
The all-time Celtic fast break. Red, you begin with Tiny. Red goes to Tiny. Tiny. Into Gene Conley. Over to Losky. Don't take a charge, Losky. Over to Easy Ed. Easy Ed to Walton. Walton to Bailey Howell. Bailey Howell to Frank. Charlie Scott. DJ in the middle. ML. Don Nelson. JoJo. Over to Matt. Down to Sam. Tommy Heinsohn. No, Tommy. Bill Sharman. Sharman's thinking about it. He passes it up into Satch. Satch to Kuz. Kuz goes behind his back to Bill Russell. Russell to Havlicek. He stole the ball. No, he can't steal the ball. Get back there. Into Larry.
I thank you all again. I've had a wonderful career. Thank you very much.
Not making excuses, I'm telling it like it is.
I just hope God has a place for him where he can run again, because God knows no one's perfect. And God knows there's something special about heroes. So long, Mick.
I think for years and years, people trusted baseball. They trusted the fact that October would mean a World Series. And baseball interrupted that last year. They took something away.
Fans greeted the return of baseball with the yawn heard round the world. But those who stayed away missed a season that somehow managed a little bit of everything.
The one surprise that jumps out at me is the Boston Red Sox. I think during the course of the season, that team overachieved. In the National League, I'd have to say the Colorado Rockies were the surprise team. Here they were, third year in existence, and they're in the postseason. I don't think any of us were really prepared for the Nomo mania from Hideo Nomo. I think that was a great thing for baseball.
Prior All-Star Game appearances, the swing and the miss.
I think everybody was glad to be back, and they were excited about what was going on, to be back on the field playing baseball.
Hanging over it all was the threat of another work stoppage. And in fact, the game did halt once more, just long enough to celebrate a moment, and all that had been missing in sport.
Rip to left! Oh my goodness! He's done it again!
This game is now in the books.
It was just amazing to see the warmth and the love throughout baseball, and they weren't even there.
I know if I had a day off that day, a bunch of the guys would have flown
to see that game because we really wanted to be there.
But how many records can you break in a 144-game season? Somehow, Cleveland's Albert Bell found a way. This could be it.
He went on the home run tear the second half, and he just kept hitting them like it was nothing. And once he started, he didn't stop.
The only player ever to get 50 home runs and 50 doubles in the same season. Incredible. Who knows what he would have done with another 3 weeks.
While purists scoffed at baseball's shortened season, a new playoff format, without it there wouldn't have been 4 postseason spots secured or lost on the last weekend of the regular season. Missing 2 would have been moments like these.
And here comes Soho! Drive!
Oh man, Tony Pena sends everybody home.
To Edgar Martinez, swung on the line down the left field line for a base hit. Here comes Joy.
He hit a ball down the left field line, and he hit it, and I just said, I got to score.
It'll be late. The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship.
But pitching counted too. The Reds, after averaging 5 runs a game in the regular season, could manage only 5 runs total against the Braves.
We never expected to sweep the Reds. By doing that, that gave us some confidence in itself.
Also confident was the best hitting club in baseball despite facing Seattle's intimidating big unit.
It's tough because Randy Johnson, he throws so hard and he's so tall and long. That's tough to decide if he's going to throw a slider, curveball, or fastball. And if it's a fastball, you got to get out the way.
Whoa!
But in Game 6, Johnson finally ran out of miracles.
It was probably the gutsiest performance that we've seen from Randy because we knew that he didn't have it.
And he scores! And the Cleveland Indians are in the World Series.
From a fan's point of view, I don't think you could have asked for a better series. And the big question was, could Atlanta's pitching shut down Cleveland's hitting?
After facing Randy Johnson, I don't mind facing anybody else.
So it was the Braves against the Indians in a series both politically incorrect and frustratingly close.
And it's lined back through the middle to give the Indians the lead. To deep center field where it's 405 and gone.
Returning to Atlanta, Cleveland needed a win just to stay alive. But the Braves had their own fears to dispel.
You don't want to force a Game 7 because then anything can happen. So Game 6 is the game you want to win it in.
Tom Glavine did his share, holding the desperate Indians hitless for 5 innings in a nerve-wracking scoreless tie, long enough for justice to prevail.
A long drive to right. Ramirez turns to the track. She's gone.
After disheartening World Series losses in 91 and 92, the Braves had finally removed the monkey from their collective backs.
The monkeys had gotten awful big around our clubhouse. I believe they were outside my door on that Game 6 morning, driving me to the game. They drove me to the game. Those monkeys. They all got plane tickets. They up in Cleveland now, I think.
'95 gave us the Breathe Right nasal strip, cold sushi in the Stanley Cup Finals, and more labor strife than we care to remember. But 1995 also reminded us that while first place is reserved for winners, everyone else isn't necessarily a loser.
Times she's experienced a Grand Slam title now, but I don't know how many have been as emotional as this one.
He takes the shot. Oh, that's going to go in. Yeah, it counts. That's it. Yes. Can you believe it? It counts. That counts.
The 0-1 pitch. Hit. Base hit. Eddie Murray has reached 3,000.
Sandstrom, number 17. Al Lemieux. And there's number 500. Mario Lemieux.
Hard right hand inside by Holyfield. And now down goes Evander. A right hand by Bowe.
And Anna Kirot, this is a fairy story come true, has come back from burns that almost killed her to now become world champion.
Pete Sampras, playing at a championship level, has won his third consecutive Wimbledon.